Hello everybody, this is a video tutorial about Agileto software tool. More exactly, it is about the module 5.1 related to KPIs. So it's about how to translate, how to map the cell KPIs from all the technologies 2G, 3G and 4G in MapInfo and Google Earth. So let's start playing. We need to start Agileto and we need to be on the demo project like it is mentioned here. Demo project is a demo project which is provided together with the installation kit provided by Agileto, and it's automatically installed once you install Agileto on your computer. So be sure that you have here from the project management selected the demo project, which is stored under the C Agileto path. So this is mandatory in order to have access to the input KPIs, demo KPIs, which are provided with the demo project. So once you are sure that you have this project, you can click on this button, open, and the active project, in our case demo project, will be open. So if we do this, we see under C Agileto demo project, we open the demo project, and our input KPIs, it is detected under this folder named KPIs, and we have the file called demo KPIs. And if we open this file, we can see, for example, different sheets: KPIs 2G, KPIs 3G, KPIs 4G, and under each one there are some type of KPIs. For example, here the call drop rate, call setup success rate, radio access bearers, and the throughput expressed in megabits per second, for example, for the 4G. So this is something that we will see even when we will start working with Agileto. Okay, so we close this and we return to Agileto. We open Agileto, it is already, and we come back to the fifth section, KPIs, and we use this option, the generate MapInfo and Google Earth cell objects based on their KPIs values. Okay, it's already preloaded the file that we already opened in Excel before, but if you want, you can choose another one from here. We select it and we go forward. Here, this is a main window related to this module, to the KPIs module. So first of all, we need to select which technology we are working with. So if we are working with 2G technology, we select this. If we are working with 3G technology, we select this. And otherwise, with the 4G technology, we select this. And after that, after we select the technology, let's suppose that we have selected initially the 2G technology. We need to select from the Excel sheet, input sheet, the right sheet that is interesting from us, which contain the data that represent our KPIs. In our case, we will select the KPIs for 2G. Now, further, what we need to do, we need to select, in our case for 2G, two inputs, for example, the cell ID and LAC to unique identify a cell, or simply just switch between this input, KE selection, cell name. For example, if we have a column with the name of the cell, and in our case we have this one, we just select this column to identify the reference cell, so 2G cell name. And after that, we need to select the KPI. In our case, let's select the call drop rate, CS call drop rate KPI, this column. Okay. Once we have selected, we see here a calculation about the minimum, the maximum, and the average value of the KPI. Yeah, so if we see, for example, in our case, to present the KPIs as percentage, this is our case. Yeah, because this is the value, the proper value, but usually the KPIs like draw rate is expressed in percentage. It is more convenient to work with this kind of KPIs like this. For example, in our case, we see now the minimum KPI, it is between the KPIs, the drop rate for all these cells, it is between 0.15% and the maximum is 11.53%, and the average value over all the cells is 1.37%. So we keep this. We use let's say for the KPI name, we can use the drop core rate or call drop rate, let's say. After that, we need to establish the radius of the cell, reference cell, how they will be displayed on the map. After that, there is an option to generate radius, cell radius proportionally with their KPI value. We will use this, but later, we don't touch for the moment. And after that, it is the range, the range for the legend, how we want to set up the legend, for example. And in our case, for the call drop rate, usually we can keep, let's say, like this, for example, 0.5%. Everything that is less than this, it's very good, and this color with green. And after that, let's take 1%. What is between 0.5 and 1% will be colored in blue. Between 1 and let's say 2% will be yellow, and between 2 and 5 will be pink, and over 5% will be colored in red. So more or less this is, and do not forget the name of the KPI that we put here. It's CDR, coming from call drop rate, and that's it. We just press OK, and here it's a summary about where the results have been stored. For example, under MapInfo and Google Earth, there is, under demo project, there is a folder called KPI, we see here. Then it's the name of the KPI metric that we put, CDR under both of them. After that, for MapInfo, there is a folder 2G, because we are speaking about 2G folder, and the name of the file is mobile network 2G KPI.work, like workspace. Yeah, and under CDR KPI, there is a name of the file, mobile network KPIs, generic name. So this is just to have an idea. And if you want to see, for example, this on both, we can go here on Google and KPIs, and we see CDR. Yeah, and under CDR we see different value for the different technology, 2G, 3G, 4G, and this is a file that is related to all of them, will be linked to all of the data from here. And for the 2G technology, we have this set of the file that have been just created. Yeah. For the 3G and 4G, we don't think anything yet, but if we will do for this technology, 3G, 2G, similar KPI called drop rate, they will be added on this on these folders. Okay, so this is for Google Earth, and if we want to see for MapInfo, For MapInfo, it's something similar. Under KPI value, there is a CDR folder, and under 2G, we have the mobile network 2G KPIs workspace. Yeah, so this is going to contain all the data that we have just. For example, if you want, you can launch it from here directly manually if you want to see in MapInfo, but we will use instead facility from Agileto software. So if we want now to use Google Earth or MapInfo to see this KPI, so we use this module 1.4, and after that this one, view mobile networks KPIs. And we need to select which KPI. For the moment we have only one that we have generated, CDR. And we say OK. And only 2G is available. That's why, because we have generated only 2G KPI. And for example, we want to see this in Google. Let's see which is this KPI represented in Google. Okay. We see here the database that is open in Google is this one, demo project KPIs CDR. We do not have yet anything for 4G and 3G because we didn't generate, and we have only for 2G. And if we plot this is something that it's going to be presented here. So more or less, this is what we have at the moment. We can see, according with the legend, the color and the value of the KPI. For example, this one is CDR 0.72% and is color in blue. It is in this range. Yeah. This one it's 1.61, as you can see here, is mentioned here, and this is cell name Agileto demo 2B, and so on. This is 3.51 CDR 3.51. It's in this range of pink, and so on. This is for 2G. For example, now we have the 2G. And if we want to see something similar, for example, in MapInfo, just open again the same, open the KPI CDR, and load the results, but for MapInfo, not for Google Earth. Okay, so if we open this, we will see something very similar with what we have seen in Google. Yeah, so this is something that we see for comparison. We can see this, and we can see the output from Google, and if we put 1 year the other one, we will see something very similar. We should see something very, very similar. So this is something that okay, we want to take out maybe the KPIs values, just to okay, KPIs. And okay, so if we look now, apparently I guess you see quite the similar up too much. Okay, so we see a very similar value. Let's put the KPIs. It's quite okay, it's quite loaded, but we can see similar value. Okay, so this is everything, and here, for example, if you want to see the information about a specific cell, you can see like this. Up. For example, this one is 5.73, the KPI value, and these are the details related to the cell. All the others, for example, the cell code 2G, cell name Agileto demo 5B, GSM band, cell ID, sector ID, BSIC, LAC, azimuth, and so on. All of the data. So if we want to see this one, this is 1.61 Agileto demo 2B, 2B, and so on. So I guess you've got the point. This is everything expressed in MapInfo, and this is Google. We return to Google because it's nice, bit nicer than MapInfo. You have the background of the Earth, what is containing, and where are the routes, and so on. More visibility. That's why we'll keep this for the future. So now if we want to return and do another example, for example, to give you more information, we will keep the same input file, KPIs demo, and let's say that we want to start now to load KPIs for a 3G technology. So we keep this selected for the 3G, and then we continue with the KPIs 3G for the 3G cells, yeah, and we come back to the cell name. It's easier. We can use the local cell ID if we have, but I don't know if in many cases the people from OMC can export the KPIs together with the cell name. So in this case it's better to use this as a reference key, as you can see here. And after that, the KPI, let's take the same call drop rate for the 3G technology. Is the same presented as a percentage, and let's use the same name like call drop rate CDR. Excuse me. In this case, we keep it the same, and let's use the similar range value for the legend. For example, everything that is in less than 0.5% will be colored in green. Then the next value, the next range, it will be 1%, then 2%, then 5%. And that's it. It is in the right order. I mean, everything that is less than 0.5 is green, it's good, and what is worst is greater than, let's say, 5%. It will be represented with red color. And that's it. You need just to press OK, and we will see in a similar way. You see here, just for MapInfo, the folder CDR remain the same because we use the same name for the KPI, just the technology change, and the name of the KPI is mobile network 3G KPIs, while for the Google Earth it's the same file because it has linked to all the other technologies. So we just return to see what we have just generated as cell KPIs, and we return here. We use the same name of the KPI, yeah, but now we have 3G available as well. So let's open now in Google Earth. We open this in Google Earth, and we can see that we have now 2G and 3G. 2G it was generated previously, and 3G it is now generated. So if we want to see, we can see only F1 layer, yeah, and we can see this, for example, for different thresholds. For example, here we can see, for example, for the first range, what is between less than 0.5% represent a number of 43.3%, and there are 13 cells like it is mentioned here. And if we want to see where they are in the network, it is here, what we see now with the green. If we want to see between 0.5 and 1%, is this one, this range, there are 11 cells, and there are that represent 36.7%, and these are going to be colored with blue. So if we want to see where there are, these are the cells, and we can visualize where they are. The same between 1 and 2%, 2 cells are, and they represent 6.7%, and these 2 cells are here, we can see visually. Then under 2 and 5% it is only 1 cell, and this is going to be represented with pink, is this one that is disappearing. And the last range is everything that is greater than 5%. We have 3 cells, and they represent 10%. And we see here, for example, the T5 threshold number 5, between 5% and 11.53%. There are 3 cells, represent 10%. And the same we can see here. And if we want to, for example, see where there are the cells, they are here. So it's very simple. If we want to deselect as well and play the same play, we can play with the KPIs overall with only by different ranges. So we can see everything by range, identify where the cells are detected. So more or less this is for the 3G. And now if we close, for example, this, okay, and okay, okay, now if we want to return and see, for example, we have seen until now 2G and 3G technology, and if we want to continue with the 4G technology, quite similar. We use the same input for the KPI. We just select the 4G technology. We need to select the right input, 4G, yeah, and we see here, just a small remark, we see here, for example, the fact that we do not have, for example, if you see here, we do not have the sites 2, 3, 9 and 10. These are missing from the KPIs, and they're the associated cells. So we will see something here a bit different. So we will use the same cell name for the reference K, and let's say we take the same call drop rate, we keep it as a percentage, we keep it the same CDR name for the legend, okay, and we keep here all the cells, means if we do not select this, only the cells from the network which are provided with these KPIs will be represented. But if we keep this and we select it, means we want to generate all the cells, including those with no KPIs provided as input or valid KPIs, and they will be colored a bit different. It will be easy to understand that they are not provided with KPI value. If we deselect this and we keep like this, these cells are not going to be displayed. So this is a switch if we want to include all the cells, or I mean all, maybe to see the sites or cells that are not yet not on air, or they are planned but not yet developed in reality, and so on. And for the moment we keep it the same legend, let's say 0.5, 1%, 2%, and 5%. And that's it. For the moment we keep it like this, and we will see which are the results. We continue a bit fast, and here we want to use the same KPI name. It's only one, but now we have 2G technology available, 3G technology available, and 4G technology available, just generated before. So we just use it to have the output in Google Earth, and we minimize this, and okay, this is something that we would like to see now for the 4G. For the 4G, if we keep all, we deselect this, and we see here, for example, what is something okay, so what is, which are the 4G technology. So we see here F2, this is related to F2, and here we see that we do not have the cells related to these sites. Okay, so these sites are number 2, number 3, and number 9. So those, and number 10, those cells are not do not have the KPI, that's why they are not represented. So this is something that it's quite similar. I mean, if we click here, we have the CDR value and so on. It's very easy to understand and to represent, to have a good representation between the color and the legend that is going to be here presented. So in our case now, for example, everything that is for example 0.51 is blue, and blue correspond in the range between 0.5 and 1%. And okay, more or less it is like this. What is interesting, it's another case where we want to see the range, the radius of the cell is proportionally with their KPI value, means which one is worst will be represented with the bigger radius. For example, this one, it's very bad and will be represented quite large. So let's have a look on this and see how it looks like if we want to use that option. So we return to Agileto and we run again the same. For example, we use the same input KPI, we use the 4G technology, we use here the KPIs for the 4G, we keep it the cell name as a reference, yes, and the selected KPI will be CDR. Okay, we keep it as a percentage, we keep it as sorry, as CDR, yes, and we keep all the cells to be represented, and we keep this one as well. Means to generate the cell radius proportionally with the KPI value. In our case, cold drop rate, as far as we have a greater KPI, we will have a bad color, I mean red is worst, and we have a larger radius. And this is, for example, taking automatically, let's say, the reference KPI value to be 0.95, and in order to do not exceed a certain radius, we keep here a limitation, maximum cell radius in kilometers 0.75. So this is a reference for this value. If it is KPI is less this value, it will be drawn with less radius. If it's greater than this value, the KPI, the cold drop rate, we will increase proportionally the radius of the cell, but we will limit everything to 0.75%. So okay, this is, let's keep the same range for the cold drop rate, 0.5%, 1%, 2%, sorry, 2%, and 5%. Okay, so more or less this is what we wanted to set up, and we say okay, and we will see now here how they look like. For example, in KPIs we keep the same CDR. We want to see the 4G in Google. We deselect everything else for 2G and 3G, and we keep 4G. Okay, this looks very nice now. So what I want to say, this, because we have selected everything, these are the cells which do not have any KPIs provided as output. That's why they have been represented like this. While the others, for example, if we take out F2, let's say, while the others, you see, if they have a very less KPI, I mean very small KPI, they are coloring green according with the legend. And you see here the value of the KPIs in percentage, while what is very bad, for example, here it is represented in red, this one, for example. Okay, instead, so maybe this is a better representation to emphasize the cells which have problems over the network. So when you have a representation and you see something big, means it's a problem, and it's a color as well associated with this. In our case, this is 5.73%, and if we look here, this is a cell name and so on. Here it's 1.61. It's just into this range between 1 and 2%, and that's it. There is nothing to say more about this. It's very easy, very simple to understand. Now let's show you something else about, let's say, another type of KPI. We just want to see, for example, to do another type, not only call rep. Let's say we want to take call setup success rate, just to show you how it looks like. For example, for the 3G, we keep it here, the 3G, and we keep the reference cell name for the 3G, and we take the call setup success rate. Yes, in this case, this is a column call setup success rate for the CS, and we can see this to be presented in percentage, and in this case we have the minimum, the maximum, and the average value. So let's put the name of the KPI, call setup success rate, CSSR. We keep let's say the reference cell radius 250 meters, means 0.25 kilometers. And now here we need to change, to switch. For example, let's everything that is less a certain value, the last value V1, it should be represented in red. From here we switch the way how the legend is going to be displayed, and these are the limits of each range. And let's take here, for example, the minimum 90%, the next one to say let's say 99%, the following one, let's say 99.5%, and let's say the last one 99.8%. And everything that is greater than this, it will be shown in green. And okay, that's it. Let's do it and see how it looks like. For example, okay, we want to see now the CSSR. So we want to see the mobile network KPIs. Call setup success rate is the second available KPI, like we generated just before, and it is available only for 3G, of course, so we keep it with output in Google Earth. Okay, we deselect the previous one, okay, and we want to see now this in Google. So it's very nice, very interesting. We have the legend over here, but we have many layers, so it's better just to select one layer, and here in this layer we have the cells and we have the thresholds, which represent the range as well as the number of cells and the percentage. In this case, for example, T1, it's the first threshold, it's the worst case. Yeah, these are the cells in the worst case, which are less than 90% the call setup success rate. There are 2 cells and they represent 6.7%. And the same is represented here in the legend, CSSR percent F1 layer. Okay, the same is for the next one, and so on. So more or less this is about the CSSR. So the name of the KPI, it is here into the header of the database represented in Google. Okay, now let's do another type of the KPIs, let's say, just to show you how to deal with different situation. We want to see, for example, radio access bearer, the number, how many times have been established a radio access bearer for a cell. So in this case, let's take the same input, KPIs, and take for example the right KPIs 3G, use the reference cell name for the 3G, and the KPI that we want to put, let's put the CSRAB. Okay, CSRAB, radio access bearer. Yeah, in this case we should not select present KPIs as percentage, yeah, because it's not normal. We should put, let's say here, RAB, radio access bearer. We should not keep this one, yeah. And okay, let's keep this cell radius proportionally with their value yeah, if you want or not. I mean, it's not important, but depends how you want to do to see. And for this, let's take, for example, we see here the minimum value, the maximum, and the average value. And in this case, let's say the minimum to be 100 establishments, let's say 200, 300, and let's say for 500. And normally the legend should be in the reverse way. Everything that is less than 100 RAB establishment, it's bad. It's I mean, is not good, because we want to have many establishment, a lot of traffic over the network. So less RAB assignments, less traffic, that is not good, means there is a problem over there. As much as we have more traffic, more revenue for the operator, it's much better. So that's why we keep it the legend like this: less than the minimum value, worst case. Better, as much as you have many values, this number is higher, the good value, green. Okay, so we keep it like this, and let's try to see how it looks like. Okay, and now let's see how this looks like. And we take the radio access bearer KPI. It is available only for 3G, and we take out the other one, and let's see now. We keep it this, and we keep this. Very nice picture. So we can see here in this picture, for example, if we drill down the KPIs ranges, so this is the worst case. Everything that is less than 100 RABs represent 2 cells, and these are 2 cells here, and they represent 6.7%. So this is a summary as well. And if we want to see where they are, these are, and it's very easy to identify them over the network. The same after that, it's the next case. We have only one cell represented in pink. This is the name of the cell, this is a RAB, and so on. So we continue with the yellow, and we see the number. It is according with the legend displayed here, and here we have the name of the KPI, radio access bearer, for F1 layer. Okay, and so on. This is the next layer, and this is the very good layer. Yeah. Okay, so more or less this is maybe just to finalize this. If you want, we can see quickly everything like we did here in MapInfo as well. So if we want to see this, the RAB KPIs, and we don't want to see in Google, we want to see in MapInfo, so it will be shown here. It's quite a similar picture, no? It's interesting, because if we have a problem with internet, we can work directly here. So we just put this, and the information tab will provide us all the details related to the KPI, the name of the cell, and so on, down in frequency and so on. So it's very easy to do this, to work with this. Now let's try to do the last thing. I want to show you something, for example, for the throughput. For the 4G, in this case we will use the 4G technology, and in this case we will use the sheet corresponding to the 4G, and we will use this input, downlink throughput in megabits per second. So the reference, we will keep the 4G cell name, the selected KPI we will put downlink throughput, yeah, and in this case we will put let's say downlink DL throughput in let's say megabits per second, we will keep all the cells, let's say we keep it like this, and let's take for example 10 megabits per second, the worst case. We should put in the reverse way, yeah, like this, because the minimum is 9.5 and the maximum is 67 megabits per second. So we do a range that should be suitable with this value presented here and with this average value. So in this case, let's start with 10 megabits per second. Let's say after that 30 megabits per second, 40 megabits per second, and 50 megabits per second. And that's it. We just did this, and we want to see how they looks on the map. Okay, we already know the same philosophy. Under the KPI, it's a new directory which have the name downlink throughput megabits per second, like we put the name of the KPI, and that's it. We just deselect this and return and see how this looks like in Google and eventually in MapInfo. Okay, the KPI we want to select downlink throughput in megabits per second, 4G technology, and that's it. We have here the legend that for the KPI we just created. Oh, very interesting. We see here we have two layers, F1, F2. For example, if you want to see separately, this is how it looks like. So I guess it's another nice representation with this variable length of the radius. In addition to the color of the cell, we see here the radius of the cell, which emphasize the worst cases in order to be identified quickly. So I guess this is everything related to this module 5.1, which allow us to map and to translate the KPIs value of the cells in MapInfo and Google Earth. So thank you for watching, and do not hesitate to contact us if you have any question. Goodbye, and keep in touch.